Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, we're running a bit late with this one. My fault, but we will be there with them. Now, it's quite an important one. If you look at the description, there was a couple of statements, the questions that were going to be asked. Okay, so we're going to go over now. Apologies for the lateness, but we're here now and running. And I hope you can hear me all fine. Please let me know if you. Good afternoon. Yeah, you can. Right, good. Okay, right. Let's go over to it now.
Order, order. Before we come to the start of today's business, can I welcome in the gallery Her Excellency, the President of the German Bundestag. Right, we come to questions, Secretary of State of the Home Department, Dr. Danny Chambers.
Mr. Speaker.
Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With your permission, I will answer questions 1 and 20 together. Under the last government, net migration hit record highs after they lowered entry requirements and opened our borders. My definition of what is best for the UK economy is one where migration is controlled and where there is investment in skills and training for our homegrown workforce and not an over-reliance on overseas recruitment.
Dr. Danny Chambers.
Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Home Secretary for her response. In Winchester Hospital, we have 104 different nationalities working there, and also throughout Hampshire, over 1/3 of the workers in the social care sector are born outside the EU. Now, we know statistically we're more likely to be be cared for or treated by an immigrant than we are to be waiting behind one for a GP appointment. Does the Home Secretary recognise that the current visa rules for healthcare workers are actually driving away many of the people who are keeping our NHS and social care services running?
Home Secretary.
Well, let me say to the honourable gentleman, no one disputes the tremendous contribution that international workers make to our NHS. The picture he describes is replicated in constituencies across the country. We will always welcome that contribution, but overseas recruitment in the NHS is falling, but that is primarily because the NHS is leading by example and doing what we want all employers to do, which is look first at domestic recruitment to ensure that the skills and expertise of the health service is homegrown. I believe that these two systems can sit hand in hand together, but we do have to make changes at the same time.
Christian Jardine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Hospitality, social care and the tech sector are all vitally important sources of employment and economic stability in my constituency of Edinburgh West. The companies in those sectors are telling me that despite their efforts to recruit domestically first, the Home Secretary's changes to indefinite leave to remain are making it very difficult for them to attract the skilled workforce from abroad that they need to keep the sector going. So will the Home Secretary reconsider, in light of that impact, and lighten the regulations to make it possible for these companies to survive?
Secretary.
Well, I do say to the Honourable Lady that we have to remember that at this point in our country we have over 1 million young people who are not in employment, education and training, and she should want, like all members should want, for us to turn that around and make sure there are employment opportunities in many of the sectors that she describes for those young people to have a positive economic future in their own country. And we are the government that has formalised that link between migration and skills reforms to make sure that companies are investing in the domestic workforce first and foremost before recruiting from abroad.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a proud fact that 4 out of 10 of the world's greatest universities on the global rankings are in the UK, including Imperial College London's White City campus in my seat. So we punch way above our population weight and are genuine engines of growth, but the evidence does show that the withdrawal of the post-study work visa, coupled with the rumours about changes in ILR, are driving some of those brightest brains that cause those statistics to competitor countries. Would my right honourable friend meet with me, education ministers and my 2 vice-chancellors to thrash out a solution? There are real problems, but we don't want to scare off genuine innovators and wealth creators.
Secretary.
Well, again, I say to my honourable friend, firstly, this is the government that has increased routes at the very top end of the skill spectrum, like our global talent visa and other routes, to make sure we are attracting talent from all over the world. We have a good track record in doing so. We will continue that as we move forward. There is work to do with our university sector to make sure that students recruited to this country are on good courses, making a contribution, and then obviously we want to be able to make sure that we use the best of that global talent in the future as well. The changes that we are making are not about students. Students don't come to attain indefinite leave to remain in our country. They are for other parts of the migration system. I'll make sure, though, that she gets a meeting with the Migration Minister to discuss these matters in more detail.
Mr.
Speaker, in Hartlepool we are reversing 30 years of globalisation and taking advantage of these unprecedented falls in immigration thanks to this Home Secretary and training our own. Whether it's through our Health and Social Care Academy, our Civil Engineering Academy, our Centre of Excellence for Welding or our Nuclear Trades Academy. Does the Secretary of State agree with me that rather than seeing this as an economic threat, falling immigration is an economic opportunity to train our own?
Secretary.
My honourable friend is absolutely right. It is imperative at a point where we have over 1 million young people not in employment, education or training that we do not make progress in this area. We would be letting our young people down if we do not take this opportunity to make sure that we are investing in our domestic skills workforce. This is a cross-government priority and the Home Office is playing its full part.
Shadow Minister Katie Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The latest estimates indicate that 627,000 non-EU migrants, mostly from low-income countries, came to the UK between December 2024 and December 2025. Meanwhile, 61,000 Brits aged 16 to 24 left the UK, as did another 65,000 aged 25 to 34. In recent years, for every young Briton who has been employed, 27 young migrants from outside the EU have also joined the workforce. Does the Home Secretary accept that mass migration has wrecked economic opportunity for young people? And how will that inform any changes she makes to the immigration rules when almost 2/3 of 1 million non-EU migrants still came to this country last year?
Secretary.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, the employment statistic that she has just used runs from January 2020 to December 2025, so I congratulate her on exposing the track record of the Tory government.
Douglas McAllister.
Question number 2, please, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
There were several large-scale events in London on the 16th of May, Unite the Kingdom being one of them, and I had several briefings with the Met, who took a robust approach to the Unite the Kingdom rally, and I was in the control room on the 16th of May to see the operation for myself.
Douglas McAllister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What happens in our capital city has a knock-on effect across our entire country. My Western Bartonshire constituent, Lindsay, contacted me to express her deep concern and shock at the abhorrent displays at the Unite the Kingdom rally. Participants openly incited racial hatred with inflammatory speeches, but more significantly, provocative Islamophobic stunts involving mocking the religious dress of Muslim women. I understand those responsible were not arrested, and I share my constituents' disgust. Can I ask the Minister if she is satisfied with the Metropolitan Police response and what future action will be considered to prevent a reoccurrence?
Minister.
I'd say to my honourable friend that the Metropolitan Police Service maintained public order and kept Londoners safe on a day of very unprecedented large-scale events. 43 arrests were made at the United Kingdom rally and the Nakba 78 March for Palestine, and indeed in advance 11 foreign nationals were prevented from entering the UK to speak at the event and prevented by the Met from broadcasting into the event. So of course I understand the concerns that his constituent is raising, but I think the Metropolitan Police with their 4,000 officers on that day did a very good job.
Shukar Adam.
Mr. Speaker, many in the Muslim community are feeling bewildered, besieged and absolutely beleaguered. When they exercise their democratic right to vote, and if the results don't go a certain way, they are accused of sectarianism. When they take to the streets to protest peacefully against a genocide, they are accused of hate marches, all the while witnessing not one but 2 Unite the Kingdom marches where there are open calls for their expulsion from this country with apparent indifference. So can I ask the Home Secretary, what steps is she taking to protect this community from further alienation, and what message does she send to those who invite hatred against them?
Minister.
I'd say this government, of course, is committed to tackling all forms of hate crime, including anti-Muslim hostility, and we are actively seeking to ensure the safety and protection of all individuals and communities. The UK has a proud tradition of racial and religious tolerance within the law, and this government is absolutely committed to building a strong and integrated society that I think we all want to see.
Michelle McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I met with one of my constituents who had faced horrible racist abuse on the train home by those who had been on the Unite the Kingdom rally. As someone of mixed white and Middle Eastern heritage, she told me that for the first time, she felt scared in her own country. Does the Minister agree with me that we have a responsibility to tackle racial divisions across our country and not ignite them? And that when the leader of Reform UK takes to the airways in the aftermath of heightened racial tensions to tell the public they must react with pure, cold rage, it is people like my constituents who pay the price?
Minister.
Can I thank my honourable friend, and I think the story of her constituent will not be the only one that we hear and that we know about. I noticed that Reform are very quick to slam into the TV stations as soon as something occurs, but they don't then come to this place to debate it in the normal way. Members of this House and beyond have a critical role to play in building the strong and integrated society that we all want to see, one not fuelled by hatred and division.
Mr. Smart.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister, I think, speaks for the whole House in thanking the Metropolitan Police for policing riots and protests that go beyond the realms of what's legally appropriate or acceptable. And that should happen to everybody, whatever the subject of their protest. I wonder if she agrees with me, though, that the rules regarding donations to fund these rallies, which one of the organisers, Stephen Yaxley-Lennon, has thanked his donors for, he's a prominent member of a political party, the rules should apply to him as much as anybody involved in politics about declaring those donations and the transparency that comes with the expectation of this House and my Hazel Grove constituents. Does she agree with me that anybody receiving money from domestic or foreign sources should declare them?
I'm not quite sure it fits in with policing of Unite, though. That's the trouble. Very good question, but not for today. Luke Charlton.
Mr. Speaker, several of my constituents have had their identity stolen with devastating consequences. Question number 3. I do apologise.
Number 3.
Mr. Speaker, we've launched a new £250 million fraud strategy focused on preventing fraud, protecting victims and strengthening enforcement. We're working closely with the City of London Police to establish referral routes so identity fraud victims can access identity repair services. And we will continue to develop guidance, tools and partnerships to help victims recover quickly and reduce repeat harm.
Luke Charlton.
The Minister for that answer. And several of my constituents have had their identity stolen, leading to devastating consequences. A serving member of our armed forces had his house purchase delayed after his credit file was risked. And too often we see identity theft is been bundled into other offences like computer misuse and not pursued at all. And so, having been a counter-fraud specialist, I know how widespread this has become. So will my right honourable friend meet me and campaigners to discuss the case for how identity fraud should become a standalone offence?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to my honourable friend who speaks with real authority on these matters. He will know that the theft of personal information is already criminalised under legislation including the Fraud Act of 2006, the Computer Misuse Act of 1999 and the Data Protection Act of 2018. But to ensure these laws remain effective, we commissioned the independent review of disclosures and fraud offences, and the review has now been submitted its final report to government and will be published shortly. We will consider its findings carefully, including what further action may be needed to strengthen our response to identity fraud. I'm sure that the noble Lord Hanson would happily meet with my honourable friend.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At my constituency surgery on Friday, Mr. De Mesquita spoke to me about how he had concerns that report fraud were not passing on to local police forces information about those victims of identity fraud. Given those victims are often vulnerable and likely to be victims of other crimes, can the Minister let us know what he is doing to ensure that report fraud is passing on to local police forces details of victims of these crimes?
Well, I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman for raising this important point, and I give an assurance that I'll raise it with the noble Lord Hanson, who leads on matter relating to fraud. I hope he will see that the government have invested £250 million of investment into working with a range of different organisations to draw down on the levels of fraud that we're seeing. That includes, of course, law enforcement, GCHQ, banks, telecommunications and tech partners, and civil society. We've also invested £31 million for a new online crime centre, but I'll look carefully at the points that he makes and refer them to Lord Hanson.
Please, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our immigration system must operate in a way that attracts the best and the brightest. Earned settlement will reward those who integrate and contribute to this country, with shorter pathways for higher earners and those in public service roles, amongst others. We are now carefully considering responses to our public consultation before setting out next steps.
Laura Cox.
Thank you. Last month, I joined a very generous community event at Hirali Restaurant, a much-loved Sri Lankan restaurant in Aylesbury, but it's dependent on staff who are here on skilled worker visas. The proposed changes to ILR put many of my local residents, including Sri Lankans and Indians, in a very uncertain and difficult position. When they arrived, the clear path to settlement was 5 years. Now they don't know what to plan or to hope for. And it's equally difficult for their employers, whether that's the care sector, nurseries or hospitality businesses like Hirali. So can the Minister tell me what reassurance I can offer to these skilled legal migrants who are such an important part of our communities?
Minister.
Thank my honourable friend for her question. It sounds like a fantastic restaurant, but like the Home Secretary has already laid out, there are around 1 million young people currently out of education, employment or training. We are creating a system that's firm, that protects the economy, that protects welfare from rising further, avoids more pressure on our social housing demands, but is also fair, so it encourages and rewards genuine economic contribution and integration. We've consulted and had 200,000 responses and are working on a final solution, and that will be announced in due course.
And Ambassador Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, the government voted against my amendment to the Armed Forces Bill, New Clause 5, which would have seen visa fees waived for the spouses and children of Armed Forces personnel and veterans. This was, of course, a Labour manifesto pledge, as it was a Conservative manifesto pledge as well, to ensure that the family of those who have fought to defend this country are allowed to reside here without being charged now £3,229 per person just to remain in the country following service. I understand that it's a Home Office issue rather than a defence issue that this hasn't been pursued. So could the Minister explain to me why this hasn't been progressed in 2 years, and could he give an update on whether this will be amended when the changes come out later in this year?
Minister, it's not quite.
Thank the honourable member for his question. As a veteran, this is an important question. I absolutely respect it. What I will say is I'm working with colleagues in the Ministry of Defence at this moment to deliver this important manifesto commitment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 5, please.
Minister.
As with new technology, decisions around procuring and using AI are a matter for operationally independent chief constables. The Home Office is supporting the police to adopt AI rapidly and responsibly. We have £115 million of investment over the next 3 years, which includes investing in the National Centre for AI, which will help the police make informed decisions.
Otter Ridley.
I thank the Minister for that answer. Palantir appears to have a habit of avoiding competitive tender and scrutiny by using free trials and locking up the contract specifications after getting a foot in the door. I congratulate the London Mayor for stopping the recent potential contract offered by the Met Police without competitive tender process. However, last week, the estimated £17 million contract for the National Firearms Licensing Management System was won by a bid from Palantir, offering just £7.5 million for a £17 million contract, which is just 44% of the expected price. This suggests either a massive error in estimation or Palantir buying the job, giving them unfettered access to whisper in the ear of all 43 police forces. Will the Minister pause the signing of the contract due this Thursday for appropriate scrutiny to take place to ensure that competitive tender process has been followed transparently?
Minister.
I can assure the honourable gentleman that Palantir aren't buying the job. In the Home Office, we have very robust processes which were followed in full. The current licence management system is approaching its end of life, and it is very important that we have a good one to maintain safety. There was an open and competitive process by the Police Digital Service and Blue Light Commercial, who do these things on behalf of policing. He's right, the contract is yet to be signed. They are the preferred supplier, and all of the right processes were followed.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the new legal framework around facial recognition technician, and we've seen successful trials of this in Harlow. However, does the Minister agree with me that it's essential this technology is deployed lawfully, proportionally and with accountability, and this is taken into account when any government contract is granted?
I agree with my honourable friend that live facial recognition is an extraordinarily innovative new technology that helps us to catch really nasty criminals in my own constituency and in other parts of the country, and we are investing in it through our police reform agenda. We are also legislating for it because we totally recognise that there is some uncertainty about what it's used for and how it should be used. So we want to put that right, be really clear, put it on the face of legislation.
Number 6, please, sir.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Living in this country permanently is a privilege and one that should be earned, not granted by default. We're currently analysing 200,000 consultation responses and we expect to introduce major reforms in the autumn.
Thank you, Mr. Rankin. January 25, I urged the Government to act on indefinite leave to remain to prevent the fiscal calamity of locking in the Boris wave. I thank the Ministers for their movement in this regard. It's important that we're transparent with the public about who is using visas as a route to a life on benefits. Can the Minister provide an estimate of the number and proportion of individuals holding ILR who are currently in receipt of universal credit?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As of January 2026, 222,000 people were actively claiming universal credit with ILR.
Joe Platt.
Number 7, Mr. Speaker.
Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dodgy shops are blighting our high streets. I know we all see them in our constituencies. So this government has announced a new high street organised crime task force with £30 million invested in law enforcement action. This will fund more officers and a nationwide unit based in the National Crime Agency and strengthen powers to tackle these criminals.
Joe Platt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I thank the Home Secretaries. We welcome the creation of the Government's High Street Organised Crime Unit, and particularly its focus on strengthened partnership working between enforcement agencies. So in Lee and Atherton, communities can see this commitment, but are asking when they will see action on dodgy shops operating in plain sight. So, given the national campaign I have launched with colleagues, will the Minister set out when enforcement will begin locally, how partnerships will be delivered and ensure these criminal enterprises are shut down without delay?
Home Secretary.
Well, let me say firstly, I welcome my honourable friend's important work in this area. Greater Manchester is one of 3 hotspot areas selected for an enhanced operational crackdown, in addition to the nationwide campaign. Obviously, can't comment on specific dates due to operational sensitivities, but the public can expect to see the start of a major offensive against dodgy shops beginning this year.
Dame Karen Bradley, Chair of the Select Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Home Secretary will, I'm sure, be aware of the Select Committee's inquiry that we're conducting on the role organised criminality plays in the crime that we see on our high streets. We heard very compelling evidence recently about counterfeit goods and the role they play, and the role that forced labour plays throughout that supply chain. So could the Home Secretary explain what she's doing forced labour? And I look forward to putting more questions to her when she appears before my committee before the summer recess.
Home Secretary.
It's always a pleasure to appear before the Home Affairs Select Committee. Let me thank her for her work and that of her committee on this important area. She will know that the recent money that we've announced will fund work for trading standards, for HMRC and immigration enforcement as well. And of course, if we pick up cases of forced labour, that will engage the modern slavery obligations that we have. So it is very much part of a full spectrum response to what we know is a complex issue. I've seen some of those counterfeit goods myself when I joined the police on a raid at the end of last week. It is a real problem and the government is making sure that we are funding every aspect of how we fix it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Extremism in the UK. Question number 8.
Mr. Speaker, the Government is delivering a fundamental reset of how we counter extremism. This includes publishing an annual State of Extremism report which will arm frontline public sector workers with the information they need to tackle extremism in the UK.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Extremism in the UK is growing at an unprecedented rate. Extreme left, extreme right ideologies alongside growing Islamist extremism, are being fuelled by increasingly brazen interference from foreign states. We need to be clear-eyed about these threats. At a recent summit hosted by Wilton Park, I heard how countries like Norway now treat extremism as a national security priority, linking it more to defence. So I'd like to ask if the Minister will consider establishing a proper mechanism so we can designate domestic extremist groups, and will they commit to recognising extremism and social cohesion as a first-tier national security priority?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman for his attention to these important matters. As set out in Protecting What Matters, the Government recognises countering extremism and enhancing social cohesion as a priority area, and we set out a range of commitments in order to achieve this. Although there is no explicit offence of extremism, the police have a range of tools and powers to counter the activities of extremists. We are fast-tracking the creation of a new state threats designation power, which will further clamp down on individuals and groups carrying out hostile activity for foreign states.
So, Oliver Dodd.
Right, okay, stand by, guys. Stay there. Now, what I wanted to make the point is on this, of they're saying about the United Kingdom rally and all the racist things that are being said there, okay? This is a 20-minute video. Well, it's a half an hour video of me at the end of the Strand watching the watching it go past, okay? I'm going to put you over to that and listen to all the race and the hatred, okay? Please. What I'm making the point is there isn't any. It's all fabricated.
No, they're not holding, they're going through. Serious crowd control going on. This is at the end of the Strand, leading on to Trafalgar Square on Whitehall. Just holding them there. They break up the crowd coming in, so there's no surges or whatever, or people getting trampled, you know. It's all about crowd control and safety. Oh, don't know where that come from.
There's not a glue stick. It fit my car, I pick it up.
What they're talking about, which isn't the United Kingdom rally. They're all talking about the other rally that was going on, camp
protests. Seriously large numbers here.
All about this one.
That's right.
Right, you can hear that chant. Yeah, you can hear that chant. Is that racist at all?
Hey, you've got a good place. Might be, yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of men, women and children that love this country. That's all I can see.
Just gone 2 o'clock. We're at the end of the Strand.
Oh, is that racist chants I can hear? No.
Beep, 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 beep. Still not thinning out. Not thinning out at all.
just to reiterate, this is my footage, my recording from the last United Kingdom rally. Okay, I stayed up at Trafalgar Square all day. Okay, and this is my footage. It's not edited at all. I don't know where they come up with these things that they say in Parliament, etc.
Video about half an hour ago, he's rammed.
It's, well, see it for yourselves, yeah? See and hear it for yourselves. That's all I'm saying.
We will get this uploaded as soon as I can. Okay, it's 2:10, and we're at the end of the Strand. And there's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of patriots coming through.
Right, I say this goes on for. This is about a 28-minute video, okay, of what I caught. There was already thousands that had already passed through before I started filming from here. But okay, so I just want to make that point, just to show you the truth. Okay, I'm not going to hold you up here. This is on the channel. Everybody's probably seen it hundreds of times already. So I'm not going to take up much more of your time. Just remember, please, Wednesday, 11:30 in the morning, Prime Minister's Question Time. And on Friday, yes, this Friday, we're going to have Mayor of London Sadiq Khan questions. It is an early one. I think it's around 11:15. So say between 10 and half 10. But it's going to be around 10:15 to half 10 on Friday. I will create an event, and I will do the event later for Prime Minister's Question Time on Wednesday. Right, I'm not going to hold you up here watching this. Go and watch it on the channel. It's not a problem. Thank you everyone in the chat for joining again. Oh, sorry for being a bit late on this one. We're getting that message. I just wanted to get what they were saying about the rally, yeah, which is just totally no words are banned as far as I know, Matt. There's no moderation in here, apart from some, like, well, no, there isn't. Right, anyway, okay, we'll leave this at there. All right, and we will carry on. We will carry on Wednesday on Prime Minister's Question Time. All right. Thank you again for everyone for watching. It is much appreciated. Betty's, yeah. Okay, no worries. Cheers all. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.